Well, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever it is when you're watching this video. For me, it's a nice, bright, sunny morning, and I'm going to talk about the add-ons that I've put on my KPR 200. I added the KPMoto-Club brake lever and shift levers. Those are the factory authorized accessories, and also, of course, the KPMoto-Club exhaust on the American edition of the KPR 200. Now these Lifan official parts, they fit. That's what I liked. I'll show you in a second the one thing that had to be modified just a little bit, a hair. It wasn't bad, it was just something that I don't know if it was the angle or something was bent, but actually it looks pretty good the way I fixed it. I'll get to that in a second, but let's start out with the brake lever. Now again, in my previous video when I installed these, that red matches really well with the rest of the bike. So if you have the white one, or if you have the gray one, or even this red one, it's going to match pretty well. Now, I don't think the fact that if you have the yellow one, I don't know that the red, it may stand out if that's what you want, but it's quite comfortable. And what it has on here is it's got 6 adjustments. So when you look at this brake lever, on the top here, it's got 1 through 6. Now on that 1 through 6, it actually causes the brake lever, you see, to expand out. And that was going from a 1 to a 3. So if you have large hands, and you, I have average size hands, but I really like a short grip on that front brake, so I do use the 1. So that actually allows me a shorter grip to reach out there. Again, when you put on riding gloves and you need a little extra room, you can put it on a 3 and then reach out there and still get your brake lever. Now these brakes function, the lever functions quite well. Riding with that on actually for me improved the feel, because the factory one did come out and it was just a solid single piece and it was kind of an awkward angle. Again, this option right here where it flips up, from what I understand, that option is in case you bump anything or if the bike starts to lean against something, you won't put pressure down here. You'll actually just pop that lever up instead of bending it or breaking anything. So I kind of like that feature. It didn't pop up on me, or I didn't even feel or notice that during the ride. So it's not like that gets in the way, or if I feel like I'm going to push it up. Now, on the clutch lever side, and again, these are the KPMoto-Club, so they are, engraved, and they have the little emblem for the Lifan KPR racing series. On this side, what you have to watch out for is when you install this, when you go changing the angle, it actually causes the tension to change a little bit here on your adjustment. So you have to watch out, because if you start putting it on a 6, you actually tighten up the shifter, and if you come down to a 1, you can see it's looser. So I had it on a 3, which is in the middle, and I might actually go up to a 4. So that does change that angle, but it actually feels like it changes the tension on the cable for your shifter. So be mindful of that. When you set it up, you probably want to set the correct tension on a 3 or 4, and then that could allow you to do a little bit of adjustment without changing the feel of the shifter. And as a matter of fact, I might want to go in and just tighten up mine a little bit or run it at a 4, but I prefer the angle on that 3. So those are some things I can change. As far as riding the bike, it shifted, I actually thought, a little bit smoother, and that my reach was a little better. So those are good looking levers. They're inexpensive. Got them on Amazon from the like I said, the official Lifan accessories and parts on Amazon. Now let's get to the part that everybody's been wondering about, and that's the exhaust. Because these exhausts, what comes on it from the factory doesn't do justice to this bike. Just the look of that really changes the appearance of the bike, and the sound. Man, I'm gonna tell you what, it sounds like a big boy bike now. I know it's not. I know it's for scooting around town, and it does get on the highway. I mean, I went on a highway, our speed limit's 75, and it'll do every bit of 75. With this exhaust on there, it does feel like it has a little bit more power. Now, I'm not going to tell you that it does have more power for sure. I'm just letting you know it feels like there's a little more power to it. That might be to do with the sound, and that you can really tell the RPM difference. You don't have to really look at your tack as much, because that open exhaust does allow you to hear the RPMs a little better. Now, what did I do to shim this a little bit? As you can see, originally I put these springs on. I'm thinking about trying to flip them and actually feed them in under here so that the springs would be upside down, but I don't know about the angle, and I don't know if that would cause it to rub or pinch on the actual pipe. So I'm going to look and see. You can tell that this pitch over angle is a little bit off, so if I went on the inside, I just don't know if I'd get that angle. And this is the angle I had to live with, because when I installed this, you always want to do this bolt as the first bolt to hold it in. But notice that I changed from the factory one to this stainless piece, and I have a lock washer on the back side of it, and I have a finish, I say lock nut on the back side, and then I have a washer and a finishing washer on the front here, so that it does look good. But the reason I had to go with a longer bolt is whenever I installed it, when I finally tightened down, remember I told you that installing on the front of the jug right here, the bolts that go in, when I tightened those all the way down, it swung my pitch angle out. That's why it's important to leave that bolt loose whenever you're doing your installation, so that you can get the angle right coming out of the jug. Here's your O2 sensor right there. That's easy to get to. Remember, they put this opening right here, and I feel like they did a really good job doing that, because you can access this pipe. It does let air flow over it and keep it a little bit cooler, even though it's a liquid cooled engine. So I did put an 1.5 inch all stainless bolt. Like I said, I got the washer, the finishing washer, and the lock nut on the back. For the exhaust itself, it's got 2 baffles. Now, coming from the factory, I say factory, shipping from Lifan to your home, you're gonna have a baffle that's inside here. I left that baffle in. I do like some back pressure. I feel like, and everybody's gonna have a different feeling, but I feel like a little bit of back pressure there is gonna keep it a little smoother, keep it from backfiring as much. Some engines like a little bit of back pressure, and some of them just want a full-on blow and go. This one though, I'm gonna leave this baffle in, but right now I have both baffles in. Now, I don't ride with this baffle in. I'm just doing this for the demonstration to show you the sound difference. Hopefully it'll be able to pick up on the camera, but I can tell you this, having this in and riding it, it rides pretty well. It sounds pretty good. Taking this out and riding it makes this sound like the big boy bike that everybody's wanting to get. Now, I realize it's a 200cc. It's not fast, it's not quick, it's not meant to be, because that's an easy way to get dead. But having that sound, man, cars around you will take notice. And also the fact that it does, like I said, give it a little bit more feel of power. So let's jump into that and see how the sound is. Again, I hope this picks it up. Turn it off. Hear the fuel pump? Now, when you get one of these brand new, you're gonna need to do that a few times to get the fuel going into the system, because I had grief trying to get it started. So I did that. We're in neutral. Start up. Here we go. So you can hear, it is a little bit more throaty than the factory exhaust now. That is, and there's more of a smell of gas. Don't know what that means. I guess it's running a little richer. I don't know. It's fuel injected, so it'll get there. It'll figure itself out. So with that baffle in right there, it does have a nice sound. Even away from the bike, you can actually hear it now. That baffle, even inside of it, if you're in a place that requires those baffles, you're going to get a different sounding bike. It's going to be more of a robust sound. It's going to be something that is definitely sportier, especially going down the road. When you get the RPMs at 5,000 RPMs, having that baffle in, I rode it like that, man, it sounds good. But taking that baffle out, it's going to sound wicked. Watch this. So, there we are with the baffle in. I'm going to take it out. Do as I say, not as I do, because I do not recommend taking it out while it's running. I get it. There we go. All right. So simply, they send you that as well. So you actually take it out yourself. Let's get my Kleins out. And yes, those are official Kleins. So now, remember, I got a single baffle in. It's at the bottom. I took the rear baffle out, and listen to the difference. I can imagine that taking both baffles out is probably going to be pretty annoying going down the highway. Now, with my helmet on, it does muffle a lot of the sound of that, but if you're doing a lot of highway riding, you might want to keep that baffle down there in, because there will be that droning sound. I don't do enough highway riding on this one that it matters, but again, you know, loud pipes save lives. That's a truth, and that if a car is pulling up next to you and they're not paying attention and they hear that exhaust, that's just a little bit more attention. That's almost like honking your horn the entire time they're next to you. They're going to either do one of two things: want to speed up or want to slow down, because you don't want to be directly behind or next to this bike. They're going to pay attention to you. That's on any bike though. Some places though have noise restrictions where you can't do that, but having that out, man, it's a clean look, it's a clean sound. I don't get anything where it suffers on the response, because again, I think that's a possibility of leaving that bottom baffle in. Clean install, did not have to take the fairing off. I did an install video that was pretty painful, I'd have to say, because I was literally installing it as I spoke, and that doesn't always go as well. But this is the Lifan KPR 200. Again, that's the official KPMoto-Club clutch lever, brake lever. Just look at that. Doesn't that look good? I mean, it matches the bike so well. I really do like that. I'll turn it sideways. So I don't have my stand out here. I'm on the sidewalk next to my Jeep on the street. And that exhaust. The exhaust is, what, less than $300? The levers are about $70, $75, something like that. Take less than 15 minutes to install. I have that video. The exhaust, you can pull off the other one and take it on. Around 30 minutes. Definitely less if you have somebody assisting you that can hold the rear of the factory one because of the weight on it. But that right there, that's a nice accessory. So, do me a favor, leave in the comments with or without the rear baffle. I say without. Some people may say with. Let me know. Again, I think the loud pipes save lives, but that's a motto that people have been preaching for years. My old bike's way louder than that, maybe too loud, but that is just perfect. Unless you're on the highway doing 75 the whole time, and then you may want to put the baffle in. And it may give you a little bit more top end having that rear baffle in. Not going for speed, I'm just going for fun. And safety. So, if you like it, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. People seem to like this bike. I do. You know, for a hair over $2,000, it's been a fun bike. So, thanks guys. I'll let you know the other updates. One of the things I got in I'm gonna do is an aftermarket chain. Definitely a heavier duty chain. I'm gonna install that. So I'll show you what it takes to install that chain and make sure that there's adjustments on that, because the aftermarket chains are a little bit wider because of the rubber O-rings in them. So I'll do that video and show you what's going on with that, and then after I change out that chain, hey, the only other things I'd ever have to do is change oil, eventually change the radiator fluid, change the spark plugs, because this thing has been solid reliability and a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoy these videos. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to ask me. Let me know. If you get one, have some fun with it.